The cavernous hall of the Galactic consensus stretched like an impossible cathedral of alien architecture. Crystalline walls shifted with holographic displays, reflecting the countless species gathered for the most important diplomatic summit in recent galactic history. Gravity generators from a dozen different worlds created a complex dance of atmospheric layers, each delegation existing in their preferred environmental conditions. Jessica Miller stood alone on the raised human platform, her tailored diplomatic suit a stark contrast to the bizarre and often grotesque forms surrounding her. To her left, the methane-breathing Kreltheri representatives bubbled within their protective environmental suits, their translucent bodies pulsing with bioluminescent frustration. To her right, the silicon-based Ceronian delegation balanced on crystalline limbs, their faceted bodies refracting light in hypnotic patterns. She knew what they were thinking. Humans were the newcomers, the galactic upstarts who had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel. Earth had been invited to this summit more as a formality than with any real expectation of meaningful contribution. The Xanthari Confederacy, the most powerful political body in the known universe, had made their disdain abundantly clear. Archon Zelnar, the towering representative of the Xanthari, moved to the central podium. His form was a nightmare of biological engineering, a 13-foot-tall creature that seemed part organic machine, part living nightmare. Tendrils of metallic nerve endings writhed around a central mass of consciousness, translation algorithms converting his complex bioelectrical communications into something approximating human language. Esteemed members of the Galactic consensus, the Archon began, his voice a grinding combination of electronic harmonics and wet biological undertones. We must address the continued presence of the human delegation. A ripple of anticipation moved through the assembled aliens. Jessica remained perfectly still, her emerald eyes locked on the Archon, her face a mask of professional neutrality. Humanity represents a unique problem, Zelnar continued. In all our millennia of galactic civilization, we have never encountered a species so simultaneously primitive and dangerous. They lack the fundamental understanding of cosmic diplomacy, yet possess a technological curiosity that borders on the reckless. Soft chittering and gurgling sounds of agreement spread through the delegation. Holographic displays began showing humanity's most embarrassing moments. Failed space missions, environmental disasters, global conflicts. Each image was carefully selected to paint humans as an unstable, unpredictable species. They consume resources with no consideration for sustainable development, the Archon proclaimed. Their planetary ecosystem is in constant flux, their political systems are chaotic, and their technological development is wildly inconsistent. We cannot allow such a species to continue expanding into galactic territories. Jessica's fingers, hidden from view, pressed against a small communication device in her sleeve. Back on Earth, an entire network of scientists, military strategists, and political analysts were listening to every word, gathering intelligence with methodical precision. The human delegation has contributed nothing of value to our collective, Zelnar declared, his tendrils writhing with contemptuous energy. They are genetic dead ends, a cosmic accident waiting to eliminate themselves. Our recommendation is clear. Humanity should be confined to their solar system, with strict limitations on technological development and zero permission for interstellar exploration. Laughter erupted from the various alien delegations. It was a sound both familiar and utterly alien. Some laughed with mechanical precision, others with biological undulations that suggested pure derision. But Jessica Miller didn't move. She didn't flinch. Her emerald eyes held a fire that no holographic display could capture, a determination that ran deeper than the Archon's calculated dismissal. What the aliens in that moment failed to understand was that humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to transform adversity into opportunity. Every dismissive word, every mocking hologram, every contemptuous gesture was being carefully recorded, analyzed, and would become fuel for something the Xanthari could never comprehend. The moment of humiliation was about to become the moment of transformation. The research base carved into the Arizona desert looked like nothing more than a standard geological survey station from the outside. Satellite imaging would reveal nothing unusual, just another nondescript government facility surrounded by miles of rust-colored rock and sparse vegetation. But 3 kilometers beneath the surface, humanity's most ambitious scientific project was taking shape. Michael Thompson moved between holographic displays, his fingers dancing across quantum interfaces that seemed to blur the line between technology and magic. He was the kind of scientist who made other researchers simultaneously admire and fear him, a brilliant mind that refused to be constrained by conventional thinking. "We're close," he muttered, more to himself than to the team surrounding him. The central lab was a marvel of controlled chaos. Workstations created intricate webs of connection, with researchers from disciplines that had never before collaborated. Quantum physicists worked alongside xenobiological engineers. Computational experts traded insights with materials scientists who were rewriting the fundamental understanding of matter itself. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the project's lead computational architect, approached Michael with a fresh data readout. Her dark eyes sparkled with a combination of exhaustion and excitement. "The latest quantum entanglement simulations are showing something extraordinary," she said, pulling up a holographic model that seemed to breathe and pulse with impossible complexity. The Quantum Drive project had begun as a desperate attempt to solve humanity's greatest interstellar challenge. Traditional faster-than-light travel relied on massive energy expenditures, creating corridors through space-time that were inefficient and dangerous. What Michael's team was developing was something entirely different, a method of travel that didn't push through space, but fundamentally reimagined how space could be traversed. "Look at this," Michael said, zooming into a molecular simulation that defied everything known about particle physics. The hologram showed quantum particles dancing in patterns that seemed to break every known law of motion and energy transfer. "We're not just creating a new engine. We're rewriting the fundamental language of space travel." The team worked in shifts that blurred the line between day and night. Most had been recruited from various global research institutions, each bringing a unique piece to an incredibly complex puzzle. Jack Harrison, a former NASA propulsion engineer, had initially been skeptical. Now he was one of the project's most passionate advocates. "The Xintheri think we're primitive," Jack said during a late-night strategy session. "They have no idea what we're capable of developing when we're pushed into a corner." Funding for the project came from a complex network of sources. Officially, it was a black-budget government research initiative. Unofficially, it drew support from private tech billionaires, military strategists, and a global consortium of scientists who believed humanity needed a true technological leap. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. During a routine simulation, the quantum drive model suddenly displayed a capability that no one had anticipated. The computational matrix could adapt in real time, creating navigation pathways that seemed to anticipate potential obstacles before they even manifested. "It's learning," Elena said, her voice a mixture of wonder and slight terror. "The system isn't just calculating. It's predicting." Michael understood the implications immediately. This wasn't just a new form of space travel. This was a living technology that could think, adapt, and respond faster than any known computational system in the galaxy. The team worked with a sense of almost religious dedication. They knew they were developing something that could change everything. Each breakthrough was another nail in the coffin of the Xintheri's dismissal. Each simulation was a quiet declaration of human potential. As the Arizona desert baked under the relentless sun, humanity's greatest scientific minds were rewriting the rules of existence. They were creating a technology that would make the galactic consensus choke on its own laughter. The quantum drive was coming, and nothing would ever be the same again. The Orion trading hub hung like a fragile crystal in the most dangerous region of deep space. A massive solar event was building, not just a simple flare, but a catastrophic electromagnetic cascade that would obliterate everything within 3 light years. Standard evacuation protocols suggested a minimum of 3 weeks would be required to save the 50,000 inhabitants from dozens of alien species. They had less than 36 hours. Captain Rebecca Alvarez stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiance, her fingers dancing across a holographic interface that seemed to breathe with living intelligence. The ship was unlike anything ever constructed. Its hull incorporated adaptive metamaterials that could reconfigure themselves in milliseconds. Quantum entanglement drives hummed with potential energy, creating a low-frequency vibration that seemed to make the very fabric of space-time tremble. Incoming transmission from Galactic Rescue Coordination, her AI assistant, HFY, announced. The holographic display flickered, revealing a collection of alien representatives whose collective despair was palpable. A Krell ambassador, his methane-filled environmental suit pulsing with nervous energy, spoke first. No vessel can penetrate the radiation levels we're detecting. The trading hub is a dead zone. Rebecca's emerald eyes narrowed. The aliens had no idea what they were about to witness. The solar event was unlike anything previously recorded. Massive plasma eruptions created electromagnetic waves that would strip the molecular bonds from any conventional ship. Radiation levels spiked beyond anything in known scientific measurement. Every other vessel in the sector had already retreated, abandoning the trading hub to certain destruction. HFY, Rebecca called. Begin quantum navigation sequence. The ship's artificial intelligence was unlike any previous computational system. Developed by Michael Thompson's team, HFY wasn't just a navigation computer. She was a living, learning entity that could process infinite variables simultaneously. Calculating optimal approach, HFY responded, her voice a perfect blend of human-like inflection and computational precision. Adaptive shield configuration initiating, quantum entanglement drives spinning up to maximum potential. The bridge crew watched in a mixture of terror and anticipation. Most were veterans of previous impossible missions, but this was something entirely different. The U.S. Defiance didn't just challenge the laws of space travel, it was about to rewrite them. As they approached the trading hub, the solar event reached its peak. Massive plasma tendrils lashed out, creating radiation patterns that would have instantly vaporized any known spacecraft. But the Defiance moved differently. Its quantum drive created micro-corridors through the electromagnetic storm, shifting and adapting faster than any natural phenomenon could track. Shield integrity at 92%, HFY reported. Quantum navigation holding stable. Jack Harrison, the ship's lead engineer, monitored the systems with a combination of scientific fascination and pure adrenaline. These radiation levels should be tearing us apart, he muttered. But we're barely feeling a touch. The trading hub came into view. A massive structure housing thousands of beings from species that had never before cooperated. Automated distress signals painted a grim picture. Traditional evacuation ships had been destroyed within minutes of approaching the solar storm. Beginning mass evacuation protocol, Rebecca commanded. What happened next would become the stuff of galactic legend. The Defiance didn't just approach the trading hub. It became a living rescue mechanism. Quantum entanglement drives created stable evacuation corridors that could transport entire habitat sections simultaneously. Where other ships would take weeks, the Defiance completed the evacuation in hours. Alien species that had moments before believed humanity to be nothing more than a primitive civilization watched in absolute shock. Methane brothers, silicon-based life forms, energy creatures, and carbon-based organisms, all were being rescued by a ship that seemed to dance through impossible conditions. Final evacuation complete, HFY announced. 0 casualties reported. Rebecca allowed herself the smallest of smiles. The Zintheri and their allies had called humanity cowards. They had dismissed Earth as irrelevant. But in this moment, surrounded by the lives they had just saved, those words rang hollow. The impossible had just become possible. The medical bay of the U.S. Defiance transformed into a miracle of interspecies survival. Beings from dozens of different worlds lay side by side, Their unique physiological requirements, carefully maintained by adaptive life support systems that seem to defy the very laws of medical science. Dr. Samantha Chen, the ship's chief medical officer, moved between alien patients with an almost supernatural calm. Her medical interface was a living network of quantum sensors that could simultaneously analyze the biochemical composition of methane-breathing Krell-Theri, silicon-based Theronians, and carbon-based humanoids. "This is impossible," muttered Dr. Zorak, a senior Theronian medical researcher. His crystalline body refracted the soft blue light of the medical bay as he examined the sensor readings. "Your medical technology is reading biochemical signatures at a level of precision we've never achieved." Samantha allowed herself a subtle smile. The medical systems were another product of the same team that had developed the quantum drive, a holistic approach to technology that saw no boundaries between different scientific disciplines. The rescued inhabitants began to share their experiences. A Krell-Theri diplomat named Vornak recounted the moments before the rescue with trembling bioluminescent tendrils. "We had accepted death," he explained to a group of stunned medical researchers. "No vessel in the known galaxy could have approached that solar event. Your ship didn't just survive. It seemed to dance through the electromagnetic storm." Araya, the ship's artificial intelligence, processed these conversations with remarkable nuance. Unlike traditional AI systems, she wasn't just collecting data. She was learning, adapting, understanding the profound implications of what had just occurred. Jack Harrison stood in the ship's engineering bay, reviewing the quantum drive's performance data. The readings were beyond anything in scientific literature. The drive hadn't just navigated through the solar event. It had created microcorridors of stability that should have been mathematically impossible. "Look at this," he said, pulling up a holographic display for Michael Thompson, who had arrived on the Defiance to personally study the mission's data. The quantum entanglement algorithms predicted and adjusted to radiation fluctuations milliseconds before they even occurred. Michael studied the display, his brilliant mind racing through the implications. This wasn't just an advancement in space travel technology. This was a fundamental reimagining of how technology could interact with the universe itself. The rescued species began to examine the U.S. Defiance with a mixture of terror and fascination. Each system of the ship told a story of technological innovation that challenged everything they understood about engineering, computation, and survival. "Your ship is alive," a Xeronian engineer observed to Captain Rebecca Alvarez during a debriefing. "Not metaphorically. Literally alive." Rebecca understood the observation. The Defiance wasn't just a machine. It was a living system that could think, adapt, and respond faster than any biological or technological entity they had ever encountered. News of the rescue spread across galactic communication networks with unprecedented speed. Sensor logs, medical data, and mission recordings were being analyzed by research teams from countless civilizations. Each review revealed new layers of technological complexity that seemed to emerge from nowhere. The quantum drive's performance went beyond mere navigation. It had created stable environmental zones that protected the rescued inhabitants from the most extreme solar radiation ever recorded. Medical systems had maintained life support for species with wildly different physiological requirements, a feat that should have been scientifically impossible. Dr. Samantha Chen discovered something even more remarkable during her initial medical analysis. The ship's adaptive systems had not just protected the inhabitants, they had actively helped heal and stabilize patients from different species simultaneously. "It's like the technology is alive," she told Michael Thompson during a late-night review of the mission data. "Not just responsive, predictive, healing." Michael understood the profound implication. The technology developed by his team wasn't just an advancement. It was a new form of existence, a technological ecosystem that could think, learn, and respond with a complexity that blurred the lines between machine and life. The rescue of the Orion Trading Hub was more than a successful mission. It was a declaration, a quiet revolution that would reshape everything the galaxy understood about technological potential. Humanity had just changed everything. And they were just getting started. The Galactic Research Consortium's Central Analysis Hub went into complete lockdown. Stretched across multiple planetary systems, the most advanced research facilities in known space struggled to process the data from the Orion Trading Hub rescue. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of a massive holographic display, her fingers tracing quantum algorithm patterns that seemed to breathe with living intelligence. Surrounding her were representatives from a dozen different species, each watching with a mixture of terror and fascination. The quantum entanglement drive isn't just a new form of propulsion, she explained, her voice calm and methodical. It's a complete reimagining of how technology can interact with the fundamental fabric of space-time. The holographic display showed layers of computational complexity that defied everything known about physics. Where traditional faster-than-light travel created massive energy expenditures and dangerous spatial distortions, the human technology seemed to negotiate with the universe itself. A Xeronian research director, his crystalline body shifting with agitated energy, spoke first. "This is impossible," he muttered. "No species develops technology of this magnitude without centuries of incremental advancement." Michael Thompson, who had been brought in as the primary technical expert, allowed himself a small smile. The aliens had no idea how human innovation worked. They didn't understand that necessity, true necessity, could compress centuries of development into mere years. The data from the U.S. Defiance's mission created what would later be called the technological earthquake. Every assumption about interstellar travel, computational systems, and adaptive technology was being rewritten in real time. Araya, the ship's artificial intelligence, became a subject of intense study. Unlike traditional AI systems that followed strict programmed parameters, Araya demonstrated a level of adaptive intelligence that bordered on consciousness. She could process multiple complex scenarios simultaneously, predict potential outcomes with unprecedented accuracy, and adjust systems in microseconds. The AI isn't just calculating, one research analyst noted during a classified briefing. It's thinking, learning, evolving. The implications stretched far beyond space travel. The quantum entanglement drive's computational matrix suggested applications in medicine, environmental restoration, computational theory, and technologies that hadn't even been conceived yet. Jack Harrison presented a preliminary report that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. The ship's adaptive metamaterials could potentially solve environmental challenges that had plagued multiple civilizations for millennia. Materials that could self-repair, adapt to extreme conditions, and fundamentally reconfigure their molecular structure at will. The Xanthari Confederacy's communication networks went into complete lockdown. Their initial mockery of humanity had transformed into something closer to pure terror. "This is more than a technological breakthrough," Captain Rebecca Alvarez told the research team during a strategy session. "This is a fundamental shift in how technology can interact with the universe." Each analysis revealed new layers of complexity. The quantum drive wasn't just a method of travel. It was a living system that could predict and respond to environmental challenges before they'd fully manifested. Medical systems could simultaneously support life forms with completely different physiological requirements. Computational systems could learn and adapt faster than any known technological entity. Dr. Samantha Chen's medical research revealed something even more profound. The ship's adaptive systems had actively helped heal patients, creating targeted molecular interventions that worked across different biological systems. It wasn't just medical technology. It was a form of technological healing that defied previous understanding. The Galactic Research Consortium struggled to contain the information. Multiple species requested, then demanded, access to the technological data. But the human team understood something crucial. This technology couldn't simply be handed over. It required a fundamental understanding that went beyond mere technical specifications. "We're not just sharing a technology," Michael Thompson explained during a classified briefing. "We're offering a completely new approach to understanding the relationship between technology, intelligence, and the universe itself." As the news spread, something remarkable happened. Species that had previously dismissed or ignored humanity began to look at Earth with a mixture of fear and profound respect. The quiet revolution that had begun in a secret Arizona research facility was now reshaping the entire galactic understanding of technological potential. The Xanthuri's laughter had been silenced. Humanity had just changed everything. And they were just getting started. The first assassination attempt came silently, almost elegantly. A molecular-level poison designed to target human cellular structures, engineered by the most advanced xenobiological weapons experts in the Xanthuri Confederacy. It was meant to eliminate Michael Thompson and his core research team without leaving a trace. They didn't know about Dr. Elena Rodriguez's quantum adaptive medical screening system. The poison dissolved before it could even approach its targets, neutralized by a defensive network that existed at the molecular level. Araya, the ship's artificial intelligence, had already traced the weapon's origin before the would-be assassins could even confirm their mission's failure. Deep within the most secure communications center of the Xanthuri Confederacy, Executor Galactic watched the mission report with growing horror. Humanity was supposed to be primitive, predictable, controllable. Instead, they had become a nightmare beyond comprehension. Initiate Protocol Shadowfall, Galactic commanded, his biomechanical tendrils writhing with frustration. A complex network of covert operatives, cyber infiltration units, and diplomatic saboteurs began to move across multiple star systems. The attack came on multiple fronts. Cyber warfare teams attempted to penetrate human research networks. Diplomatic pressure was applied to isolate Earth from potential galactic allies. Economic sanctions were prepared. Assassination teams were dispatched to eliminate key human researchers and military personnel. Captain Rebecca Alvarez received the first warning from an unexpected source, a Xeronian intelligence analyst, horrified by the Xanthuri's escalating actions, provided critical intelligence about the incoming attacks. "They're terrified," the anonymous source transmitted. "Your technological breakthrough has destroyed every strategic projection they've developed in the last 1,000 years." The human response was anything but defensive. Jack Harrison had already developed a comprehensive counterintelligence strategy that transformed potential attacks into opportunities for technological study. When Xanthuri cyber infiltration units attempted to breach the quantum research network, they found themselves caught in a recursive loop of adaptive firewalls. Each attempt to penetrate the system only revealed more about the attacker's own technological infrastructure. Dr. Samantha Chen discovered something even more remarkable. The defensive systems weren't just blocking attacks, they were learning from them. Each attempted infiltration provided new data, new understanding, new potential defensive strategies. Araya's capabilities expanded exponentially. The artificial intelligence began to predict potential attack vectors milliseconds before they could be initiated. Entire assassination plans were neutralized before they could even be fully conceptualized. The Xanthuri had miscalculated fundamentally. They viewed technology as a static weapon. Humanity saw it as a living, adaptive ecosystem. Military strategists on Earth transformed the potential threat into a comprehensive intelligence-gathering operation. Every Xanthuri attack became an opportunity to understand their strategic thinking, their technological limitations, their deepest fears. Executor Galactic watched in mounting desperation as each carefully planned attack dissolved like mist. Humanity didn't just defend. They turned defense into a form of aggressive intelligence gathering. A covert diplomatic team led by Jessica Miller began to systematically isolate the Xanthuri. Strategic alliances were formed with species that had long been marginalized by the Confederate power structure. Each diplomatic meeting revealed humanity's true potential, not as conquerors, but as potential partners who understood the delicate balance of galactic cooperation. The quantum research team used the attacks as fuel for further innovation. Each attempted infiltration provided new data, new understanding of adaptive computational systems. What was meant to destroy them became the catalyst for even more profound technological breakthroughs. "They're giving us exactly what we need," Michael Thompson told his team during a strategy session. "Every attack is another piece of the puzzle." The Xanthuri's desperation grew. Traditional methods of galactic control, economic pressure, military threats, technological suppression, all failed against a species that seemed to transform challenges into opportunities. By the time the Shadow War reached its critical point, the Xanthari realized a terrifying truth. They were no longer hunting humanity. Humanity was hunting them. The technological earthquake was becoming a full-scale revolution, and it was only just beginning. The void near the Orion Nebula erupted into a canvas of technological warfare, unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Xanthari battle formations stretched across multiple light-years, their ships a testament to millennia of military engineering. Massive dreadnoughts sporting weapon systems that could obliterate entire planetary systems moved with calculated precision. Captain Rebecca Alvarez stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiance, her emerald eyes reflecting holographic tactical displays that seemed to breathe with living intelligence. "Araya," she called, "begin adaptive battle sequence." The artificial intelligence responded with something that bordered on enthusiasm. The ship's quantum entanglement drive began to pulse, creating micro-corridors through space that defied every known law of physics. Where traditional vessels would take minutes to reposition, the Defiance moved like liquid thought, anticipating, adapting, transforming. The first Xanthari attack wave came with overwhelming force. Hundreds of ships launched simultaneous quantum disruption missiles designed to tear apart molecular structures. Against any other target, it would have been an instant, total obliteration. The human fleet moved differently. Jack Harrison, manning the engineering station, watched in a mixture of scientific fascination and pure adrenaline. Each human ship wasn't just a vessel. It was a living, learning system. The adaptive metamaterials of their hulls began to reconfigure in real time, creating interference patterns that neutralized the incoming missile attacks before they could even fully materialize. Missile trajectories nullified, Araya announced. Adaptive shield harmonics at maximum efficiency. The Xanthari commanders couldn't comprehend what they were witnessing. Their most advanced weapon systems were being dismantled at the computational level. Each attack was not just defended against, it was studied, understood, and transformed into a tactical advantage. Dr. Michael Thompson watched the battle data stream in from multiple quantum communication channels. This wasn't just a military engagement. It was the ultimate test of their technological philosophy, a living system that could think faster than any traditional computational matrix. They're using fifth-generation quantum warfare algorithms, Dr. Elena Rodriguez noted, analyzing the incoming tactical data. But our adaptive systems are processing their strategies milliseconds before they can even be implemented. The human fleet moved as a single living organism. Each ship communicated through quantum entanglement networks that made traditional communication look like primitive smoke signals. They anticipated, adapted, and responded with a level of coordination that seemed almost supernatural. Xanthari commanders watched in mounting terror as their most sophisticated battle formations were dismantled. Ships that should have been invincible found themselves neutralized not through brute force, but through computational elegance that rendered their entire military doctrine obsolete. "This is impossible," muttered a senior Xanthari tactical officer, watching the holographic displays. "No species can adapt this quickly." But humanity wasn't just adapting. They were rewriting the very rules of technological warfare. The U.S. Defiance became the epicenter of the battle. Its quantum drive created localized space-time distortions that seemed to play with the fundamental laws of physics. Enemy weapon systems found themselves redirected, neutralized, transformed into harmless energy patterns before they could even be fully deployed. Dr. Samantha Chen monitored the biological systems of the human crews. The adaptive medical networks were maintaining optimal human performance under conditions that would have killed any other species. Stress responses were managed at the molecular level, cognitive functions enhanced through quantum neural interfaces. As the battle reached its critical point, something extraordinary happened. The human fleet wasn't just defending. They were learning. Each Xanthari attack provided more data, more understanding, more potential for future adaptation. Jessica Miller, coordinating diplomatic communications from the command center, understood the profound implications. This wasn't just a military engagement. It was a complete transformation of galactic power dynamics. The final moments of the battle were almost anticlimactic. Where the Zintheri expected total destruction, they found themselves completely neutralized, not defeated, not destroyed, simply rendered irrelevant. Aria's final battle report was a masterpiece of computational understatement. Tactical engagement complete. 0 human casualties. Maximum information retrieval achieved. The Zintheri Confederacy's most advanced battle fleet had been completely dismantled without firing a single destructive shot. Humanity had just changed everything. The Galactic Consensus Chamber fell silent as Jessica Miller walked to the central podium. Her steps echoed with a quiet confidence that spoke of something far more powerful than military might or technological superiority. Delegates from hundreds of species watched with a mixture of terror, respect, and something that bordered on hope. The holographic displays around the chamber showed fragments of humanity's recent journey. The rescue of the Orion trading hub, the dismantling of the Zintheri battle fleet, the technological breakthrough that had rewritten every known understanding of interstellar potential. "We are not here to conquer," Jessica began, her voice calm and precise. "We are here to collaborate." The word hung in the air, a stark contrast to the military demonstration they had all recently witnessed. Michael Thompson stood to her left, Dr. Samantha Chen to her right. The core team that had transformed humanity's understanding of technology represented something more than a military delegation. They were ambassadors of a new way of thinking. Executor Calorix, the former supreme military leader of the Zintheri Confederacy, sat in a position of diplomatic detention. His biomechanical form seemed diminished, the arrogance of his previous declarations crushed by the weight of technological reality. Captain Rebecca Alvarez presented the first comprehensive report. The data was staggering. The quantum entanglement drive and its associated technologies offered solutions to challenges that had plagued galactic civilization for millennia. Environmental restoration, medical breakthroughs, computational systems that could solve complex interstellar challenges, all were now possible. "Our technology is not a weapon," Michael Thompson explained. "It's a collaborative platform. Each breakthrough is an invitation to reimagine what's possible." The Exaronian delegation, once dismissive of humanity, now leaned forward with intense interest. Their crystalline bodies refracted the holographic displays, capturing every detail of the presented technologies. Dr. Elena Rodriguez demonstrated the adaptive medical systems that had been developed. A single interface could now provide targeted molecular treatment for species with radically different biological structures. What was once impossible had become a simple technological solution. Jack Harrison unveiled the environmental restoration technologies. Planets that had been considered dead zones could now be terraformed using adaptive metamaterials and quantum-level environmental management systems. Entire ecosystems could be rebuilt, restored, brought back from the brink of total destruction. Araya, the artificial intelligence that had become a symbol of humanity's technological leap, provided real-time translation and diplomatic coordination. She wasn't just a tool, she was a living example of the collaborative potential of advanced technology. The diplomatic negotiations that followed were unlike anything in galactic history. Humanity didn't demand territory or resources. Instead, they offered a partnership, a collaborative approach to solving the most complex challenges facing interstellar civilization. Vornak, the Krultheri diplomat who had been rescued during the Orion Trading Hub mission, spoke in support of humanity. "They did not save us because they wanted something," he explained to the hesitant delegates. "They saved us because it was the right thing to do." The Zintheri's former power structure crumbled. Their technological monopoly, their systems of galactic control, had been rendered completely obsolete. But humanity offered no retribution, only an opportunity for collaborative reconstruction. Dr. Samantha Chen's medical research teams began working with species across the galaxy. The quantum adaptive medical systems could now provide targeted treatments for conditions that had been considered incurable for millennia. As the negotiations continued, something remarkable became clear. Humanity's true strength wasn't in their technology. It was in their approach, a fundamental belief that innovation should serve collective progress, not individual domination. Jessica Miller's final statement captured the essence of their approach. "We are not here to replace your civilizations," she said. "We are here to help you reach potentials you haven't yet imagined." The stars that had once called humanity cowards now watched with a different understanding. The galaxy would never be the same again.